Everybody, welcome back once more to another lovely week here of Faceit League action. It's been an exciting time in the days that we have been gone, Dex. It's only been a few days, but there have been some massive games that have taken place, some big upsets, especially over in the North American region, but there's a lot still stirring here in South America, with this being the last week of competition for the regular season. While Pisco Sour has their spot fully locked in at this stage of the game, they're looking to be your number one seed and potentially have that golden stage on the line. Micro's in a bit of a different situation right now, where they have a great record, but their top four situation isn't quite locked in yet, and a win today would fully secure them in that position.
Yeah, you talk about they come in here with 2 losses, and while right now, if you look at the standings, they are safely in the playoffs at 3rd. Well, then you have Ragnarok right there, who has completed all their 11 games and went 8-3 in those ones, holding on to that 4th spot. Then you have, much like last season, the wild card team right there in Agave Garfo, who still has a couple more games to play this week. I believe they play one tomorrow and then on Saturday, or it might be Friday and Saturday. And they also have 3 losses at the moment right now. So there could be this wild situation where if Micro, say, were to lose tonight to Piso Sour, there would be 3 teams. Granted, if Garfo does not lose a game or any one of their final 2 games, there could be 3 teams vying for those final 2 spots, and it would all come down to that bullhold score. Which, again, I don't feel like me and you have ever been able to accurately predict of who would actually make it.
No, not at all. And there's a crazy reality that it could come down to a 3-way tie scenario, with the bullhold score being the determination of what goes down. And that's not a fun reality for the team that gets left out, obviously. But it's a very real reality if Garfa managed to win those 2 games. But those games are happening a whole different day. Micro pretty much save themselves all the anxiety and worry if they were to somehow get the win over Pisco Sour today, who again has yet to drop a map to anybody, but this is the other top team that Pisco Sour has not gotten the opportunity to face yet. So you never know what's going to happen in a scenario like this.
Yeah, and you talk about Piso Sour coming in this one, like you said, perfect season or golden season so far. Haven't dropped the map. You have to go back to this team last season when they were the Del Patos. Yeah, some of the names have changed. Some players from the different teams, but there's still a core of this team. Didn't lose this game last season. They went 10-0 in the regular season, 3-0 in the postseason. So right now, Hunter, there are some players on this team that are going on what is about to be a 24-game win streak here, which is impressive, and not dropping a single map at all this entire season in the regular season is huge. But I mean, we definitely saw it last season, where we're not going to confirm it. We can definitely make speculation that there are some teams that once they lost a map to maybe those first 2 teams that are in the standings towards the very end of the season, they didn't necessarily show their hands in the rest of the series waiting for playoffs. I don't think that's going to be the case here tonight at all, because like you have mentioned, Micro with a win here definitely locks themselves into the playoffs.
Yeah, even just a map win might be enough to like help the bullhold score kind of go their way. Again, we don't fully understand how it works. I don't think there's a day where we ever fully will either. But you can imagine a map win off of the number 1 team. It does something for you in terms of that score. So we'll see what ends up happening as interesting. We'll see what ends up going down. One thing I do know that's going on right now, which is somewhat relevant to this conversation with Faceit, is Team Brazil, I think, is doing a scrim right now, actually, as I'm finding out. Yeah. There's a whole thing going on with that, which that's a whole conversation for off stream, but we'll see if that affects today's game out specifically, because we do know there's at least a couple members between these 2 rosters that are seemingly on that team now.
Yeah, most importantly, probably Dalka for Micro here, who
Yes.
I believe is one of the tanks for Team Brazil. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens now. But hey, we do know the first map of the game. Looks like Micro's decided to bring us to Oasis, which, I mean, hey, Li Jiang's in the map pool, but again, I think we see teams go back and forth every week here. Busan gets a little bit of play. Li Jiang gets a lot of play. Oasis still there. Oasis was a favorite map, it would seem like, for this region for the longest time. But Juno gonna be the ban here for Micro, which honestly is I think a good ban coming out for them here. And it seemed like Piso Sour was immediately just ready to go with their ban. So, you know, they are here and ready to go, trying to get that win here. Reinhardt.
Yeah. This is gonna be probably what I thought. We'll see momentarily. We'll not draw to any speculation until I know things for fact. But yeah, I think what's gonna happen is gonna happen here, Dex. You know what? I'm not even willing to like.
Yeah, we're not just
Yeah. There's no reason. Very clear thing. I'll just show the thing entirely. Yeah, even Web Team's apologizing. Team Brazil is currently scrimming, and that is the reason why you're not seeing Hydron, but that's also the reason why you're not seeing Dalka. And it'd be one thing if you were like Pisco Sour and you had a 7-man team and you had people to take people's positions, very reliable players at that. But unfortunately, it is just the pure 5 for this micro squad, and with that being the case, I can very much see Dalka playing right now. So this game is 100% not happening.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if these two teams do come together and talk and reschedule this one, because like we did say, this is a very important series for Micro. Even in a loss, a map victory or two goes a long way in their chances to make playoffs here. Granted, right now they're sitting at 3rd seed, but it now puts them into that hornet's nest where, I mean, granted, one of these, the biggest thing here is if Agave Garfo loses one of their final 2 games, I think it's to, let me actually check who their final 2 games are here, because there's not that many games left.
Garfo?
Yeah, so Elemental Ice, and then Agave Faca. Those are not cakewalks. We have seen Element Ice throughout the season. They look like a good team. They were looking like a team that at the start of the season, like, hey, they were punching above their weight and getting some wins against some teams that we are really looking at being those like fringe playoff teams. Struggles have happened since then, but still, that's a really good team. And Agave Faca, I mean, it goes back and forth. Faca looked like a really good team at one point, kind of got hit a little bit of a slump here towards the later half of the season. But again, it's one of those things where those are not two immediately you can write it down as wins in that win column. So this forfeit loss here, unless they reschedule it, might not end up haunting them in the end, because again, it comes down to Agave Garfo having to play their games.
Yeah, that would be the scenario at hand. So we'll I was hoping for some new gameplay. But no, it'll be interesting to see what this does, because there's a very real reality that maybe it just doesn't affect anything. You know, Garfo loses to Ice or to Faca, and it doesn't really matter. But unfortunately, something we'll just have to wait and see about, as the timer will continue to tick down until this hits 0 and the lobby will reset. And unfortunately, there's no other South America games happening tonight. So unfortunately, there is no alternatives currently sitting by for us, which, well, unfortunate. It is what it is. It's not like we could have gotten into another game anyway. So
yeah, and we should probably preface this right now for any North American fans who come here to watch the South American region. This is the final week for South American play. Actually, legitimately, there are 4 games left, counting this one. No, actually, not counting this one. There's 4 games left in the regular season for a lot of teams, or for a couple teams. Outside those 4 games, that's it. They will have about 2 weeks off before their playoffs start, at the same time that all the other Faceit League divisions start their playoffs here. So North America, which we'll be covering here later tonight, still has 2 more weeks of action going on there, but this is the final week for South America, which again gives a lot of these teams, especially these playoff teams, a lot of time just kind of sit there and just kind of wait and scrim against each other, essentially.
Yeah, it'll offer them a lot of space to kind of. Oh, that's interesting. It'll offer them a lot of space to be able to pretty much get themselves together. But to be fair, there are some teams that will definitely need to put that time aside right now, because at this point, Pisco Sour, that is the team to beat right now, and we'll have to see how Micro has adjusted. We'll have to see how either maybe Ragnarok or Garfo, for that matter, depending on situations, adjust as well. But it'll be interesting regardless. I'd be happy to see any of those teams in the playoffs, which I'm happy that's the case. But yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say, unfortunately. It's just we'll have to see what happens once this week is over, and we'll see if Garfo can make things chaotic or not.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, you can see at least some members of Pisco Sour having fun with this. This is the golden season complete now. with this game going to a forfeit. So, I mean, Hunter, you look at it like this, 27 or no, my at this point, 30 map wins in a row for this team. It's impressive. It really is. And they have a chance to keep the streak alive in the playoffs. And like I said, there are some players who were part of this team last season when they were known as Dilpados, who didn't lose a game in the regular season and didn't lose a game, and I think only lost a map in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was kind of insane. Some of these players have not taken a loss in Faceit in a very long time. Even if you want to go all the way back to that, like, way back to season 6 with that Factor X squad. Like that's how far back I feel like you have to go to find a time where these guys have lost and Faceit, which is a crazy reality because we're talking about like mid last year roughly, which is absolutely insane that is the case. But
basically September on,
just that is insanity. But their spot is indeed locked in. There's a couple other games that are fairly inconsequential with, the pride and like on the line. Faka versus Element Heaven. Faka just wants to get a couple wins under their belt, which, to be fair, depending on what happens with next season, being top 6 is technically important. You would need to be top 6 to keep your place within Master Tier if an open tier were to come back into reality, which you never know. We've gone back and forth on it before. It could definitely come back once more, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I hope to see it back.
I hope so too, because we never really got to cover it a whole lot. And to be fair, it would be very interesting to have the option to cover it and have teams like Phantom Fatties, like Factor X, Element Heaven, all those teams that probably should be playing in open, be able to play people that are genuinely around that skill level and see some really competitive games.
Yeah. But hey, that's a conversation and a hope for another day here, Hunter. Unfortunately, like we kind of said, the game, since the timer did go down, was put in as a forfeit. So, yeah, it is Piso Sour getting that golden season here, 11-0, really 10-0. They get that bye win as well. So 11-0 going into playoffs. They will be locked in as your 1 seed. That also means Heist is now going to be locked in as your 2 seed. Seeds 3 and 4 are now very much up in the air as Micros with this, or Micronus with this loss here, goes down to a 3-loss team. And I'm just going to take a quick gander at the standings to see if they dropped below Ragnarok or not, because that would be interesting.
I don't think they have as of this moment.
They did not. So yeah, so right now you're looking at 2 teams that are both 8-3 of Micronus 200W and Ragnarok, who are sitting in those final 2 playoff spots, and you only have one other team that can really touch them. That would be Agave Garfo, who, as we already mentioned, has 2 more games to end out this week on Friday and Saturday. Friday against Elemental Ice, and then Saturday against their against their Org brethren in Agave Faka.
Yeah, which that'll be an interesting game. Whether or not we'll actually do it, we'll see later on in the week. We'll see what comes to. I have a move that's currently in the process right now, so it's a bit questionable how active Hunter's going to be over the course of the next several days. But
I thought you meant like literally right now. I thought like you found a game. I was like, what?
No, I wish I found a game right now. Unfortunately, 'tis not the case. Even if I wanted to, there was no way, unless there's some like a random advanced game that starts in 12 minutes. But such is not the case. So let's draw it up on. We still have some North American action tonight. Kensugi is taking on X Oblivione. Should be a very fun game because EXO, they've been having a little bit of fun, a little bit of success lately. What kind of success, you might ask? Well, we're talking about a 3-game winning streak, which includes a couple of big wins, especially over a little team called Team Z, which is absolutely insanity, given where this team was at just a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see where things go from there now that they have a positive record, as Kensugi's also hoping to kind of stay on the path to victory. They're 4-2 as well. They have a lot of easy opponents kind of lined up for them, so it'll be fascinating to see this game because I think these are likely both playoff teams. Whether or not their seeding will be high or low, that will have yet to be seen.
Yeah, so make sure you come back here in about an hour and a half as we'll be covering that North American Masters League, Masters tier game.
Yep, we'll see you later on for that North American action. Everybody take care. See y'all soon. Everybody, welcome back to some more Faceit League action here today for North America. And as we brought up earlier on decks, it's been a crazy week or so for North America. A lot of upsets, a lot of teams making this competition very close, more than I think some people would have initially believed. And we have potentially one of those kind of matchups here today. Meow Academy taking on Elemental Normal. This one should be a lot of fun because these are two teams that, again, an expert team coming up, how they have fared in the past has been very wishy-washy. In Mal Academy, a good of a roster the team has, they have definitely had some of their struggling points throughout the season so far. Yeah, no, 100%. There are teams that have struggled against a squad like this because it seems like they are genuinely good from the times we've been able to witness them. But there have just been some instances where they have struggled to really finish the job. But to be fair, it's not over quite yet. They still have some easier teams on their schedule. And I think a win against Male Academy for today, I think, is a rather necessary thing for them right now, because as things stand right now, you're looking at getting 8 wins to put yourself in good running, and 9 is probably that sweet spot to have yourself in that playoff conversation, and it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but getting this first win here today, it would definitely put you on the right path to do so. But for Mel Academy, they're a squad in their own right that's trying to move forward and do their own things. And they have a couple games on their schedule that are definitely very favorable towards them. So a win here brings them another step closer to a playoff berth that I feel like a lot of people looking at this roster would have already thought to be the case before the season even started. Yeah, there's some scheduling conflictions, which, to be fair, this is like prime time for collegiate. It makes sense why there's a lot of teams that kind of have been struggling to make the initial dates they were set up for. But if they can figure it out and get all their games played, hey, it is what it is ultimately. But for some teams, it's going to be more difficult than others. The craziest part is this isn't even one of the more crazy examples of 8 games. There are some teams that have 7, 6, or someone who has 5 games only played so far that have to run absolute gauntlets in the last couple of weeks. So we'll see how they end up faring when we get to that point. But for now, we're focused here on Meow Academy. Elemental Normal should be a fun matchup right here, because we have definitely seen this EXO team more than capable. EXO team? I'm stuck on the game we would have had. This Elemental team, I should say, they are more than capable of punching up. So I do know Lucio was the first ban, and that was done by Meow Academy. If I'm trying to remember the first map, I'm gonna be so low-key, I'm just watching back on the delay right now for what the map is. It was Busan. I was gonna guess Lijiang for funsies. Well, I would have lost that bet. I would have said Lijiang. No, it's Busan. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to see what happens. Dex, double check your mic really quick on the other source. Just double check it for me. Could you just speak one time for me, just for funsies? Oh, yeah, you might need to fix things on your end. That might be my fault. So either way, that'll be all fine. I'll talk us around this one really quick. It's all good. It's all fun in games. I have a little bit of what's the fun word, Dex? I know they can't hear you quite yet. They can't hear you. What's the fun word where you talk to yourself? What's that word?
Schizophrenia.
Yeah, schizophrenia. That is me. But you know what? Not anymore, because we're ready for a game, and we're getting this one set over here. Mecha Base gonna get us started.
Yeah, so you were talking to yourself there for about the first 5 minutes. There's a lot of great info that I put in there as well. I feel sad about that. But coming out of the gate, both these teams are going to be showing us dive competitions. Remember, Wrecking Ball was banned out here by Elemental Normal. So you have to kind of expect that maybe they have a little bit of scouting here for Pella on the other side. Maybe they like to play that Wrecking Ball. But this D.Va versus Winston, we always talk about D.Va normally having the upper hand in it sometimes. But I feel like that goes back and forth, especially with how your DPS lines are playing here at the moment. And Regime, coming out here on the Yari is a very, very interesting pick here for them.
Yeah, but this is right up Regime's alley for everything we've seen from them in the past. I don't hate this whatsoever. It allows your supports to play really far back, play really safely as well. It really is about keeping Pella alive, though, and initiating a lot of these dives. Just the point is more than open up and ready to go, but eventually someone has to throw their body on here. But I am 37 down here early. Noxious going to pay the price for it, though, as Mayhem. Nice whip shot. Looks like that should secure Elemental Normal their spot on this fight. We do have the initial flip over on the point for Meow Academy, though. They really do just need to finish the job here.
Yeah, both these teams just want to win this fight first before they go for the point, and you got that first pick right there if you are, now you find Pella. I mean, this is exactly what Elemental Normal wants to do, and this has been one thing that we've seen from Elemental Normal throughout the entire couple times we've been able to watch them. A very composed team, but losing the mech right there, Hunter, I heard you groan. That's not a good play here for Normal.
No, it's just big overextension, honestly. And they get caught up for it, too. It's still a 4v4, so it's not undoable yet, but Noxious, another big blow right there, unfortunately. Yeah, Normal's going to pay the price here. They're going to completely back out. I am 37 down again. Noxious, third pick of the fight, as they're forced to reset. And now a Nano already good to go here.
Nano online for Graveyard. You look up the other side, you're going to Bomb and Katsuni and Rally here. So this is going to be a pretty heavy ult fight, as both these teams could really build up to about all their ultimates outside of Exo's Pulse Bomb here, which was used in that last engagement. But still, a lot of ultimates come flying out here, and Mookie decides to throw that out the first one with his Katsuni Rush. But just look at everyone from Meow Academy, just kind of kiting far away, but now the Nano invested on the Pella, and Mookie just too far forward.
Yeah, attempting to run them down here. Brubber running for it. Bomb ready to go, but it is going to be held, I think, smartly so right here. Noxious going to start clearing out even more bodies. Mayhem would love to get out, but such a luxury shan't be afforded as Exo takes the reset. Big fight win for them, and ultimately, they just end up ult trading.
You find McChicken here late. That's actually a really big pick for Elemental Normal as you come back in, because you can play really fast. However, McChicken is the tracer, so you don't have to worry about it that much here. But like you said, ult trades went out there, but because of Exo using that pulse bomb a little bit early on in the previous fight, you still have 3 ultimates ready to go right now if you are Meow Academy, so you can still kind of keep a little bit of aggression here. However, Regime, that Captive Sun, you're going to want to make sure Brother's probably out of that mech or so far away from it that does not get eaten.
Yeah, Primal Rage out. It's pushing Brubber into the corner as McChicken double on the balls. Excuse me, as Bomb comes out to no avail. 80% accounting for Meow Academy. They're looking good with the full wipe coming through, but this is enough time to set up for one final touch.
You'll get one touch here, but in Regime, honestly, at the end of the day, that Captain Sun was not needed there. It was cool. It really was cool to hold on to it there, but I mean, that pulse bomb did all the work in that fight. Brubber will at least come in and get the touch. IM37, this overclock gonna pop off right now. One pick is all you need. However, they get just instantly taken out.
Yeah, but not over quite yet. We're back into a proper 4v4. Presence back on the point as Pulse Bomb goes up in the air. Finds no recipients. Is EXO eventually going to be caught out right here as Noxious on the run once again, forcing Mookie in the corner. Gets the second of the fight as all Normal can do is throw them bodies over onto the point and try to stall for as long as possible. IM37, though, makes it back into the fight. Makes this potentially winnable for the squad here, but now the last remaining member, no touches available. That'd be the first round secured. Fairly so here for Malakat.
Yeah, and I mean, it was back and forth there for a little bit. Both the teams were very composed, not wanting to overstep their boundaries. And I mean, you have to remember, it was actually Elemental Normal that truly won the first fight, even though the first point cap did go over to Meow Academy. But after that, I think you could really pinpoint the downfall for Elemental Normal in that first point right there is when the Consumer Rush came out from Mookie and everyone else on Meow Academy decided to say, okay, we're just going to go to the other side of the map. I mean, and they cut it out perfectly. You know, nothing really came from that Consumer Rush other than, well, with the help of a Nano, Pella fighting Mookie out. And then there was a couple other ultimates used in that fight for Elemental Normal that just didn't really lead to much right there. Ultimates you would love to have back because they are fight-turning ultimates. But IM37 now making the swap here over to the Widow. I mean, if they can find just one pick hunter, that's all that Elemental Normal needs because we've seen what this team is able to do when they find that one pick.
Yeah, and just because a Widow exists and already you have to play differently as a squad, you see them potentially making a rotation around to the side right now as they are just waiting and trying to play the areas where it's not as easy for the Widowmaker to find inherent value. As Pella headshot again, by the way. Big Sleep, though, is going to open up the door. Noxious going to move in. IM37 going to get dove over into the back row, but this thing not quite done yet. But it is still going to be first point secured away here as Brubber trying to get to the Mega Health Pack. Unfortunately, we'll be just short as IM37 finds another shot right here, keeping this one as they'll get the flip directly back.
This is playing exactly like the last point did here, where it will be, again, Normal winning the first team fight, even though it goes over to Meow Academy here first. They get 1 extra % than they did the first time around, but with these couple cleanup picks here, Elemental Normal is going to be able to hold on to point just a little bit longer, and look at the swap coming out here from Noxious. I mean, the Emre I thought looked good. Oh, they want to match the Widow. I was going to say, what do you want to do, Noxious? But I mean, again, you come over to this Diva or this Sombra now instead. You want to focus in on someone like Brubber or someone like IM37. You're basically just looking for those assassinations right now. So IM37 has to be put up in a good spot, but those visors really gonna slow down Noxious here.
Yep. Now everyone is exposed right now, but you take the fight over on the point. You know everybody's out already. You try to take away some of the value, but Pella caught out eventually. And now nobody can even peek their head. It has been taken over here so far by the Widow, and all they can do is take the regroup, and the only way they win this is by taking a lot of these fast initiating fights. Oh my god.
37 finding Graveyard. EXO finds Regime with the pulse bomb right there. And again, just another stagger right there. Basically buying yourself up to about 65, maybe even 70% before you see a real engage here by Meow Academy. And this is what we always talk about when we see Widow Hunter. That boom or bust kind of play style. And right now, IM37 is booming here for Elemental Normal. However, you look at the ultimates going online here for Meow Academy. You have that pulse bomb, you have that Nano. I imagine that Nano is going to be going on a Pella again to try to get rid of IM37. But the jump comes out and they miss it.
Yeah, that is a little rough right here. Kasune into the pack. Unfortunately, this is not going to get a whole lot of anything right now. Flip comes back through for Mal Academy. Graveyard is on their own, though. They're eventually going to be cleaned out completely as McChicken got to try to get out of dodge right here. But they're going to be able to flip this point basically for free. Pella is on the run right now, as somehow this fight is beginning to flip. Pella needs care right here, right now. They'll get it just in time, and now they have a proper regroup ready to go.
I mean, if you could have found Pellet out there for Elemental Normal, that would have been huge. They're going to have this Primal Rage online here momentarily. Hack coming out there onto Blubber. Actually, no, it doesn't. They still have this bomb ready to go, though, so they have the remaking tool, but I was going to say, this might not be the moment to use it. However, they invest it. Yeah,
quick regroup. If everyone can stay alive, this is definitely still doable. You only have one to throw into this fight, but to be fair, if you use the one, you definitely create value still going on for this backline. Unfortunately, not a whole lot coming online right there. You take the trades coming through. EXO is trying to come towards another Pulse Bomb. Right now, it's not ready to go, and unfortunately, I don't know if I want to willingly use it here, but what a stick is! Walks back into Exo. Exo gets away with that dub, and now point beginning to flip over here, but you're going to see the EMP specifically over on a Brubber. They're going to get taken care of, and this fight should be all Mal Academy.
However, I think Normal's actually going to be able to get the flip here. No, Pella decides to invest his Primal Rage here, and they're just going straight after Mayhem, trying to get him to go play on the train tracks. Not working just yet, as Mookie's doing a good job keeping up their support line, brother. And however, they'll fall. IM37 falls, and right now, if you're Normal, a reset is absolutely needed here. You lose Exo, and again, Hunter, it's really a thing of Elemental of Meow Academy not looking like the better team at the start. A huge pick there actually by Brubber, but you look over at Normal right now, they don't really have that many ultimates online here, while you're about to have both your support ultimates online right now for Meow.
Yeah, but that continuing rush is definitely a powerful tool to work with, especially with no EMP to counteract it this time around here. So we'll see where they decide to go, but Exo down early. Remember, that pulse bomb was in hand, so now it needs to be absolutely massive from the rest of the Elemental Normal squad. Unfortunately, the Kitsune Rush gets taken out, and now there's just a single bomb on the point, and unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough. Exo on their way back, going to be able to commit one final touch, but to no avail it shall be, as they'll maybe get one more before this thing will be properly done and over with. It's definitely back and forth, but Mal Academy will take your first map.
And again, there were times here this map where Elemental Normal looked like they had the upper hand, but Meow Academy finds ways to claw their way back into these points. And you can look at it here. This is a team with a lot of experience at this level. They know when to be calm under pressure, and Meow Academy doing that here right now. McChicken getting play of the game for essentially the play that won them that first point. But you need a lot of big plays from especially Pella on downtown to be able to win that second point there for Meow Academy and overall the map. Elemental Normal, I thought, looked like the better team there. IM37 looked amazing on that Widow. Really landed, like I said, boom or bust kind of play style. It was nothing but booms. They eventually make the swap over to the Soj because the pressure from the Winston and the Sombra was maybe a little bit too much for them to be comfortable with, and it was a little bit later in the map, so it works out a little bit better. But after that swap, IM37 kind of went quiet there. And I think Meow Academy really won that map, not because of that swap, but a huge part of that swap for IM37.
Yeah, no, it's a really important swap right there to change things up. You realize things don't go very well over a mecha base. You make that swap, and it brings them off to a really good starting point. And some teams will crumble under that. To the Widowmaker, they won't know how to react. They'll change their style, and it won't always work out. For Mal Academy, they figured it out. They knew what they needed to do after a couple of lost fights, and they took advantage of such a thing very cleverly. So we'll see how things change up moving forward for both of these squads right here, as Elemental Normal, they will opt to take us over to Blizzard World for our next map. A lot more of an open map. Well, I shouldn't say a lot more. They're both pretty open maps considering. But there's definitely room for a Widowmaker to find inherent value here. But to be fair, if you're Mal Academy, are you dead set on getting rid of the Widowmaker? Or is it something that was threatening maybe in that first map that perhaps you don't want to have to run into again?
I mean, it's up to actually Elemental Normal here to decide what they want to get rid of. And this is a map where you could really get rid of the Winston here for them. This is a map where you could play a lot of different compositions, but I think Poke and Dive are really looked at as the two like strong prevalent ones. Yeah, you have seen teams run Orisa, run Zarya in the past, and that's because, I mean, realistically on defense, very, very good. But I think you get rid of the Winston here if you are Elemental Normal. I think, especially in the last map, Pella was starting to find a decent amount of value on it. You force him over to something like that Diva or something like that Wrecking Ball. Instead, though, they're going to be getting rid of Tracer, which, again, McChicken was looking great on it. Same thing, though, could be said for Exo on the other side there for Elemental Normal, where they were just going back and forth at each other. But I think there's a lot more bang for your buck, especially when it comes to those pulse bombs there for McChicken.
Yeah, I think there's a whole different plan in mind getting rid of the Tracer right here. Just something you don't want to have to worry about, because that is a 1v1 that outside of the two Tracers playing, it is completely out of anybody else's hand, and that fight going one way or the other can determine a fight sometimes before it's even properly begun. So we'll see what the counter response is going to be right here, as we're just waiting from the ban from Meow Academy to see what they want to do. But to be fair, the Tracer ban coming through means they cannot get rid of the Widowmaker in this exchange either, so we'll see what they opt to go with right here. They could easily go down the route of like, hey, maybe we don't want to deal with like the Diva anymore. We saw Brubber play the Diva almost the entire time. If you're dedicated to running Winston anyway, if you're Pella, it's not exactly a big risk to say, hey, we just don't want to have the D.Va in our face again.
Yeah, and you have to remember, Meow Academy banned with that Lucio map one, so they're not afraid to go after that support line. So you could get rid of something like the Kiri. You could get rid of something like the Wu Yang, which you did see almost a normal play there on downtown. And especially going to a map like Blizzard World, Wu Yang does inherently find some value there, some actual decent play. So you could get rid of that here if that's the way you want to go. Like you said, D.Va could be a good way to go. Maybe something like the Sigma for really force Elements of Normal to stick with that D.Va, because I don't think the D.Va was the biggest problem there for Meow Academy last map, but you could get rid of something like the Sigma here, so you get rid of the poke on this map.
Yeah, definitely so. You could take out a lot of options. There's still a lot to work with without having to go and get rid of that Widow. So we'll see what they'll opt to go with here pretty shortly, as the pick already went through. We're just waiting to see what it is. We'll see if there's going to be any swaps, because at the very least, we do know from time to time, Elemental Normal do like to bring in the Brad, who's very big over on that Reaper. Unfortunately, these first two maps we have in front of us, not exactly a big on Reaper country. Maybe when we get over to a little bit of push or flashpoint, hey, maybe we'll get some then and there. But at least me speaking now, I don't think these lamps are going to change going into this next map. So wait and see what the pick is going to be coming through here for Meow Academy, who are going to get rid of the Brigitte, actually. Interesting.
And guess who's coming in?
Oh, have I been proved wrong? Oh,
yes, you have been proven wrong.
This is interesting. Okay.
I mean, we've seen the Brad play this Reaper in the past, but they've also been able to play a lot of other heroes and really excel in them. They are, I feel like, known for their Reaper. But if you're confident that the other side's going to be playing a Winston, the Reaper still can be useful on any map, just as being a good counter to that Winston, force them into spots where they cannot necessarily make that dive. And we have seen the Brad really start to take over maps in the past, even maps that you don't think the Reaper would really find a lot of inherent value on. They are that kind of player when it comes to that Reaper guy.
Yeah, they definitely are. We've seen a couple of those Reaper guys throughout. I feel like I've seen some Reaper guys throughout the season so far, throughout a lot of divisions, and this is one of the strongest ones I feel like I have personally seen thus far. So we'll see how well it works out here as we get ready to head over to Blizzard World, our second map of the series, and it's looking like, as things stand, Meow Academy is going to be attacking first.
And a really interesting play here by Meow Academy to say, we want to attack first. Normally, they get this choice of sides here. They decided they want to be the ones attacking. I don't hate it. I actually like when teams have that confidence to say, hey, we want to set the standard here. We want to set our time. But it could immediately backfire on them if Elemental Normal comes out here and just shuts them down almost immediately. And the Brad, namesake Reaper guy coming out here right now, going to be showing us that. However, on the other side, you see Pella just go right over to that D.Va instead. And while, yeah, that slows down the Brad just a little bit here, especially when it comes to Death Blossom just being eaten up, still, D.Va is not the best or most favorable matchup against the Reaper, especially once that defense matrix goes down. You see the Lucio back in for both sides with being banned out last map. And outside of that, no really big interesting picks here, Regime, on the Bab McChicken, because that Tracer's going over to the Echo instead, which I kind of feel like is where you see a lot of teams go when Tracer gets banned out. You can see him go over to the Echo, maybe the Venture, the Vendetta. However, we haven't seen a lot of Vendetta here lately, Hunter. She might be dead.
You know what? Found in Toronto, for all we know. We don't know what the case is going to be. Either way, I'm all for it. I can't lie. But we'll see how teams fare with Hey Soldier's getting a little popular again once more. The Emery still very much up there as we saw earlier on, but the Brad already getting some pressure caught in the room. Is going to be able to get out pretty scot-free in this scenario, though. But knowing the Reaper's there already means you have to play so much more carefully. If you overextend in the wrong place, wrong time, you will be punished extremely quickly, as IM37 is being heavily forced out of the fight.
That was also just chasing down IM37 in the backline right there. And I mean, the Brad getting taken out, not who you want to see fall first, and you lose the mech here. Ooh, this is the first point already given up here for Elemental Normal. And honestly, I would not be surprised if you see some swaps come out.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no real recontest in this point unless you find some serious picks right now, as McChicken going to be able to hide away. And yeah, there's the picks fully coming through, as all you can really do is take the reset right here. Unfortunate scenario, but for Meow Academy, the plan works out as they want. They force everybody back, they separate, and they pick people off one by one.
And no swaps coming out right now for Elemental Normal. I think they're going to try maybe one more fight with this, but they have to be ready for them to make a swap here because it just seems like Meow Academy knows exactly what they want to do here. They're playing this very aggressive playstyle with this D.Va. However, they're playing aggressive, Hunter, but yeah, there they go. They're pushing the card now.
Yeah, Pel's in a bit of an awkward area right now. Be lucky to get out of here with that mech, but going to be taken care of very quickly. Going to be taken care of out of the mech, as well as McChicken going to move back, realizing, hey, I want nothing to do with this fight right now, as they're still trying to find really aggressive picks out here, but eventually Brubber knows better. He's going to back out a little bit as copy onto the Reaper. This is an interesting time for a dupe, I must say.
And, I mean, you find IM37 off of it, I guess, as you just see Brubber go right after that duplicated Reaper.
Yeah, it's gonna hit the Death Blossom for about a frame, and it's gonna work out. They have Consumer Rush, but it just doesn't matter. They're gonna get cleaned up here big time, and it's the full reset, and now Graveyard's got a free Consumer Rush to throw him back into their face.
And, I mean, Graveyard has that Kitsu, Pella has a bomb, Noxus has the overclock, Regime has a beat. Granted, the only thing that Normal won't have is their own Kitsune Rush here, but already losing people early on, Hunter, not good.
Yeah, Noxus knows somebody's hanging around nearby. He eventually finds Brad, and that's not working out too well for them. Meow Academy, they're looking phenomenal right now as... Do you even have a touch setup right here? I guess Brubber is very much still there. Sound Bear going to be used. Remember, Regime still has their standing by. You're going to have Consider Rush used as well. A lot being used here in this fight as Brubber going to let this bomb loose. Really needs to try to stay within the mech. They shall do so very successfully, but they're already starting to run out of care with Mookie down. I'm37 or the Brad need to find something right here, right now. Need to pop off, but it seems like things are starting to gently stabilize, especially if they can knock Pella out of mech here, which they will do. Unfortunately, they lose their D.Va as well as they guys.
I mean, I don't know if Normal is going to be able to come back in that one. I believe the Brad already used Wraith form. It was very low on health. They had that Death Blossom ready to go, and normally when you see that D.Va get demeched, you have that green sign. Just say go, use that on point. But now look at the time bank here, Hunter. Over 4 minutes right now for Meow Academy to get going here, and they're playing aggressively again. Granted, it did backfire on them for a brief moment last point, but they have such a large time bank, it doesn't necessarily matter.
Fortunately, no, it doesn't matter a whole lot here. There's still plenty of time sitting by here right now. McChicken is demacked out of the copy. See where it goes there as they will get the remake. Gets Brad on the crunch. Oh, no. That's not great. Still, they're going back and forth on this fight. Unfortunately, it's still a 3v3 that I don't know if I feel super comfortable, especially as Mookie going to get burned away. Mayhem on the run. But unfortunately, if you're Brubber, I think best you can do, run for the spawn, get your heals, and the Brad might have to be your clutch up for this fight.
The Brad got crushed by in a figment of his own imagination right there. That's kind of sad. But still, the Brad holding on to this Death Blossom here. You're going to have to use it eventually, especially with this potentially being final fight. However, if you're Elemental Normal, this is a big fight for you because you look over at the other side. They're all building up to their ultimates. But if you have one fight win go your way, it could be big here. Consider coming out. And again, much like what we saw in the first point, first map, Meow Academy just going to back up, let this Kitsu go away, and then come right back in with one of their own.
Yeah, it's a perfect peel, and now they can respond back super quick because now they have the sound barrier to match the Kitsune Rush. Not finding a whole lot left. Here we go. Brad's going to go in, tries to find anything, but again, they peel back momentarily. They bring back with their Kitsune Rush, and now there's nothing to properly throw back into the face right now as Brubber going to try to hit that remake, is going to be able to get back in successfully as McChicken is eventually going to get that sound barrier. They're going to start running through body after body as Brubber trying to hang around. Mayhem in there as well. But Pella has the bomb to end this thing right here and now as they're going to throw everything they have here to clean this one up as quickly as possible as they're going to cap with 2:32 on the dot.
And again, like I said, when a team decides they want to attack first, they want to set the standard, they want to set the time, Hunter, they set a really damn good time right here. Over 2.5 minutes. It's going to be hard for Elemental Normal to match that or best it. At this point, I'm just going to say what I always say in these situations. Don't look at the clock. You have one goal right now if you're Elemental Normal, and that's finish the map. However, I want to see swaps from Elemental Normal right there. The D.Va, I don't think was necessarily working for them. Brad on the Reaper, I'm going to look at stats right now. I mean, 4 and 6, not the most damage on their team. I mean, almost up there with Mookie. Mookie was, about 1,000 damage behind, but not that much damage really happening there for Elemental Normal. I mean, again, you have the Brad coming here to play the Reaper. We know how good they are on the Reaper, but we know they have other stuff in their back pocket. It might have been time to see that swap come out there. And you already see Brubber just saying, we can't match divas. They have to go something different here. That's exactly what they're going to do. Go over to the Zarya instead. No swaps at all there from Meow Academy. And honestly, McChicken was probably really an unsung hero of that last round right there for them. Most elims in the lobby with 18, most damage in the lobby, only by, hell, not even 100. But still, that Echo was just suffocating at times for Elemental Normal.
Definitely was so, but I like the fact that they're willing to make these swaps here and try to figure out something. As we do see the TP ready to go for IM37, imagine you were just going to see the TP out, swap back, and probably hit the Sojourn back up once more. But we'll see what ends up happening instead is the Emray instead going to be on display. Didn't see the Emray from this squad last time. We did see a little bit of it from, I believe it was Noxious who pulled it out back on Mecha base. But I like the adjustment right now. It's going to be easier to shut down someone like McChicken, like Noxious as well, in that it really is one of your biggest goals with this entire swap up.
Yeah, you want to be able to shut down McChicken. I mean, hell, at this moment right now, you're looking at just getting rid of this DPS line because you probably feel like you can be able to get rid of this Diva pretty easily if you can really get rid of this DPS line that's been causing you so much problems here. But it looks like Elemental Normal going to be just rotating all the way through towards the backside of point. Has been something we've seen them do in the past here to, I think we've seen it twice. Once it worked out great. The other time, not so much.
Yeah, you see this big run over to the backline right here. Rubber trying to find some separation. Unfortunately, the only separation that's coming through here is the separation fully over onto this normal squad as they're going to be fully cleared out here. Rubber going to get some slight stalling before being finished off. And unfortunately, the biggest thing is with the comp like this, you normally want to stay as one. They got split into two different groups very quickly.
Yeah, you said it right there. It seemed like Brubber thought the rest of the team would follow them to point, try to force a fight there, while the rest of them said, no, we're going to fall back and just play at the archway. And Brubber just kind of, I'm not going to say screwed their team there, but just was the one reason why the team really struggled. And it looks like they're setting up to do the exact same thing, go straight through the kitty right here, but you're going to be down one of your supports already.
Yeah, Pella's been very active in this entire game so far. Wants to be super aggro, and to be fair, has the supports to get away with it as well. Regime and Graveyard, super consistent players, and they've been really consistent today so far as well. As Brubber is doing everything they can to try to work up towards the scrap, but it is taking a hot minute because no one wants to get even close as they're going to run in here, start burning down body after body as IM37 already down, and Brubber, as much charge as they have, it's a rough room to be at. It's not just almost gets stopped by the cart, but gets right-clicked by Brubber. Now this fight's going to even back out right here as on the run is going to be Pella, who is going to find Mayhem in the process. Getting Pella out of mech, that is a must to maybe try to pull this one back around. Unfortunately, their backline is just being obliterated, and all they can do is back up and take another reset.
Oh, McChicken almost falls where they have the duplicate going to be able to save them alive here. The duplicate onto Brubber Zarya. Again, a grab here for actually Meow Academy would be huge, but looks like they're going to be knocked out of it. And this is the mode for Elemental Normal. You have to start making your way towards point. Even though you just lost the Brad, you have a grab online ready to go. You can really not afford to have it eaten.
Not at all. It's a little rough right now. If it's eaten, I mean, that is worst case scenario. You have to try to knock Pella out of mech here, which to be fair, you're in a good territory, but you throw it in. Noxious just gets soloed, but B gets thrown out. Rubber misses that initial right click. They'll get the finish anyway, so still a very much winnable fight right here. But you notice right now where Pella's at. Pella is just in the backline, disrupting everything. This time, though, it's not going to work out as efficiently with us. With 50 seconds left, they are getting separated, and they are getting separated hard.
And right now, if you're just Elemental Normal, just go to point, keep as many people on as you can. Don't really worry about Pella still being alive back there. You just need to get ticks. You need to make this a really rough fight for them to come back into. You have the ultimates for Elemental Normal to just be able to handle anything they throw at you, but you cannot afford to lose someone early on here, especially someone like the Brad.
Especially so right now, but that's your first fight locked in that you needed as you're at 98.3 right now. They get that last second touch in as Pella getting forced back. Brad finds some good value getting rid of McChicken as everybody just has to throw their body over onto the point as eventually it will be cleared through. IM37 getting a nice couple of picks there to solidify that fight win.
I mean, you need someone on this team to come alive, especially IM37. They were a big part of why they, especially on that second point last map, looked really, really good. Pella now going over to the Wrecking Ball instead. It's going to be interesting to see if we see the Zarya stick around. Yeah, I probably imagine it will, but the Brad might actually be like salivating at this swap here. The Wrecking Ball is really good into this Reaper, or the Reaper is really good in this Wrecking Ball here, just being able to keep it as a little bit of crowd control. You have Katsuni's great for both sides here, and we've normally have seen Almost Normal not be afraid to use it very early on here, especially when you find an early pick like that.
Yeah, we've already seen Pella to be a really aggressive tank, and I imagine that's not going to change a ton over on the ball. The problem is your team's already being wiped out, DPS gone, and that requires another reset to have to come through. Now you have a Katsuni Rush to match the one from Graveyard, so you're in a good situation, all things considered. But it really is about having to force this fight and give yourself as much time as possible to get through third, because we've seen many times before that teams get halted just before the second checkpoint.
Now it's Nox's time to shine here on this Widowmaker. Kitsu's out from both sides, though, as both of them are going to be fighting on this cart.
Yep, Michigan has that copy overhunt to the Kiri. We'll see if it finds like an extra good scenarios for them to work with, as getting super close needs to find literally a hint of charge. Will not be able to get it. Those are still hanging around over on the point. Pella hang around in there with Ed. Yeah, you're losing your support line. Nothing more you can do in there. The best thing you can do is try to get Brubber out with all this charge, but unfortunately, I don't even think that's doable at this stage of the game here. Brubber would be absolutely lucky to get out of here alive, as they'll get McChicken on the way out right here. But the fact they haven't got Brubber yet is a little insane.
Yeah, Brubber did a good job just kind of staying in that canteen or that concession area and being able to keep themselves alive here. They had good pressure there from Brad, making sure that Pella was not going to be able to come in there and do a lot. Now this cart right here, Pella going to throw the body on cart. They do have mines, so going to buy some time, but they're going to try to get rid of Pella here now. Beat coming out, going to be able to save him for a moment.
Yeah, it was the beat and the cleanse. Doesn't work out too well, though, as Brad is going to move in with one bubble. Noxious going to be forced super far back, eventually taken care of. It's just Regime over on the point. The chicken to follow suit, and now, hey, 2 minutes on the point left. It's not a ton to work with, but if you can finish, which is even a second on that clock, you still got a chance to pull this one out.
I mean, hell, it might be better if they don't finish with a second on the clock. Only have to force a draw. I think you would take that, but honestly, you want to win the map. So yeah, second is what they're looking for here. But Hunter, what did I say that Element Normal need to do coming into this round here? Don't look at the time bank. Your main goal, complete the map. And you force multiple swaps now from Pella as they're on the Ramatra here. And I think Brubber's going to have to either heavily commit to this or just swap. But again, IM37 finding a huge early pick here.
100%, but now you got to take advantage of this fact right here. You need to get this cart moving and grooving as fast as you can, as they're going to be able to solidify Pella into the corner, who, again, would be kind of lucky to get out of here. But now, our Macho with a room full of people, sometimes that's the blessing, but right now for Pella, it's a bit of a curse that they need to try to get their way out of there. And again, clock continuing to burn away. They're going to keep pushing through, using the sound barrier just to be able to do so. A big pick on Pella puts them in a good scenario right now, but McChicken, I was going to say they're kind of hidden. Unfortunately, not anymore.
I like the use of the sound barrier right there. You want to be able to break through. You want to be able to keep your push going there. Fight loss would kill all the momentum you have here. Yeah, you know the grab and the Katsuni Rush is about to be on the, or the barrage and the Katsuni Rush about to be ready on the other side here. But you have ultimates to be able to shut it down, especially IM37. These last couple overclocks for them have been absolutely huge for them, and they're going to use it to counter out the Kitsu.
Yep, this is the big must-fight point right here if you want to be able to keep yourself alive in this map to potentially take it away. IM37 needs a big shot now. Is eventually going to get forced back right here. McChicken does have a barrage. Still hanging around the back. Is going to go all in on Brubber. Takes the trade, and honestly, you might love this trade a lot right now. Is big one thrown in, and unfortunately, no value to be found, and it's going to be the cleanup squad going through. Pella with a second one, and IM37 might be getting one on the way out. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter a ton as well. Overtime will activate. It's going to take a minor miracle for Brubber to get back to this point. Find inherent value right here, but Noxious is forcing everybody else back. Brubber doing everything they can into their power to try to find somebody, anything, to stay in this one, but at this point, it's wishful thinking as time runs out, and health bars will as well.
Again, we've seen another map where Elemental Normal puts up a good fight, but just Meow Academy, again, their experience at this level, they are able to be calm under pressure, and really, if you probably ask them, there probably wasn't that much pressure here for them. You go back to their attacking round, that first round for them, it seemed very easy for them. A lot of it was McChicken absolutely just popping off fight after fight, but still, it didn't seem like they ever really worried about this map here. And now Meow Academy, one map away from taking the series in a 3-0 sweep and setting Elemental Normal down to 3-6 on the season, which, Hunter, at this point, it makes it very, very difficult to start talking about playoffs for that team.
Yeah, you want to talk about playoffs? It'll become a bit of a devastating affair if we get to that point for Elemental Normal. But we'll see how they end up reacting, and the answer is they're reacting very much immediately. Atlas, as they're going to get rid of the Ramatra, and apparently, Mal Academy knew what they wanted to ban that next instant as well.
I'm gonna take a guess, probably Reaper. Maybe. I mean, that's definitely an option there. The Brad, though, we talked about them, maybe glazed them a little bit too much coming into that map. I don't think they're that much of a factor at all. The sad thing is, I think Meow Academy had a good strategy of how to shut him down or really make it hard for Brad to find a lot of value. And you just saw it there time after time again. I believe only one Death Blossom kill from, I believe, 3 or 4. Not necessarily batting a good amount right there for it. But again, you were dealing with a Kiriko, you were dealing with a Diva for a lot of it there, and just not able to find much. And it's unfortunate there for Brad. But again, Elemental Normal, I think you're seeing IM37 really leave their mark on this series. Same thing with Brubber. I think Brubber's still doing a good job up against a really, really good tank on the other side in Pella. They've been able to kind of match that kind of play so far, but it's just Pella and the team around him right now that I think is really making a big difference here for Meow Academy.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see what ends up happening here with the counter ban, as we are still just waiting to see if the lineups are going to change at all. Remember, EXO was in that initial map. Right now, we'll see if there ends up being a swap online. And in fact, there is a swap, but EXO is being swapped in specifically for IM37. So the Brad is going to stay in for Atlas.
So you're either looking at a dual flex DPS play coming out here, or like I said, Brad has shown us other heroes in the past. I believe one of them was the Emray. So this is definitely a map where the Emray and the Reaper really do find a lot of value. It depends on what you see from the other team here with Meow Academy. But Ramatra being banned out really lets you know that Elemental Normal, they think they can get past the Diva. They think they can get past the Winston on the other side, and probably the Wrecking Ball as well. The Ramatra might have given them a little bit of problems, but you still have a lot to go, a lot to do here in this series. And if you're Elemental Normal, the Ramatra probably looked like the best option here to get yourself a map win and keep the series alive.
Yeah, genuinely so. We'll see what ends up happening, though, as we're still just hanging around waiting for everybody to get in this lobby for what could be our final map of the series. But for Elemental Normal, obviously, they want to go beyond that. They know what the map 5 is like. They know how to get there. They just got to find a way to be able to do so. But to be fair, taking out the Ramatra, I think it was one of the things that started giving Elemental Normal a lot of trouble when they finally got some momentum over on their side. It was an excellent swap for Pella, who we know to be a super flexible tank for this squad. For every squad we've seen them on over the course of the last year now. So we'll see what Normal decided to go with, because the Brad and EXO being in, it kind of just leads me to believe that they're going to continue with a kind of aggressive style with the Reaper still. But EXO on that Tracer, remember, was doing absolute work before, especially on Downtown.
Yeah, I mean, they were kind of matching McChicken on Downtown. McChicken had their number on Mecha Base. But again, this is what you want to be seeing here. You want to have, if you're expecting to see the Tracer come back out here, because remember, Tracer was banned out last map, you want to be able to have that kind of consistent back and forth duel. Hopefully your Tracer's coming out on top most of the time here. But you also want to just say, like, hey, what if the Tracer doesn't work? You have someone that'll make that swap pretty early on as well. Waiting on how many players are we waiting on? Waiting on a couple players here now from Meow Academy to get into the lobby. So we can get started with our potential final map of the series here. And again, there has been moments throughout both these maps where Elemental Normal looked like the better team. I mean, I think we can both say that here, but Meow Academy, I think just their experience at this level and how long this team has kind of been together, at least the main core. I feel like we always kind of see Regime and Graveyard on the same team. Same thing with Pella there. That core is so important to a lot of these teams. And Elemental Normal, I'm not saying that core has not been together for a while here, but it's not, they haven't been together at this level for a while.
Yeah, definitely so. But right now, this is Meow Academy squad that is hoping to get back on top here as we're ready to head into Atlas up 2-0. This squad is hoping to put the exclamation mark over on the series and get them one step closer to touching those playoffs once more, because if we know something about all these players, they are not shy to being deep in that playoff berth.
Oh, absolutely here, but we're going to see in a brief moment what these two teams want to show us here. I mean, Elemental Normal, I'm not surprised. I think the Brubber really found something with the Zarya last map, and it worked out well for them for a little bit. Brad, okay, you're playing Bastion. Not necessarily the worst pick. We have seen some teams play the Bastion here, but Pella's showing us the Malga. You talked about how flexible Pella is, and again, you can see Malga. Maybe this is one of the only maps I think Malga decently finds a lot of value outside of unless your team's name is Vivacity and your name is Axe. Here, you don't really see Malga show up that much.
Yeah, but Malga's making its appearance. We've seen some instances of the Malga in recent times. It's not been like extreme, but it's definitely come back into some level of prominence right here. So we'll see what ends up happening as it's a deep attack out the gate. Pella is super in there right now. Brubber trying to hang in there, gets double heals, but that will leave Exo caught out right there by Noxious. And this is the aggressive approach we expect to have from Mal Academy as Pella getting pushed back. Still has plenty of carry. That should be an easy pick for the time being to head over towards Meow Academy as they're still cleaning up bodies.
Yeah, I mean, they find the Brad right there. Noxious was very low for so long. I mean, that could have been an opportunity for Normal to find a pick, at least even it out, even though you're going to have to give the point. And Graveyard almost gets taken out by Brubber, who, again, hasn't died just yet, so already has a decent amount of charge to their name. And there you go. That's what you're looking for from the Brad. Find that early pick, and look at what the rest of this Normal team's going to do now. Focus straight in on Pella.
Yep, I love it. But they're going to still collapse their own way in. Unfortunately, again, the squad just goes into two different sections, and it doesn't work out. You are not going to win a lot of these fights in a scenario like that. Pella eventually gets burnt down, but I think the damage is too far gone. Brad has no more heals sitting by. Neither does Brubber. And while Brad's still definitely hanging in there, it's just not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough here. And right now, I mean, if you are Normal, you have maybe one opportunity here to rush the point and try to at least force a fight here on point, but you already see McChicken that pulse bomb online. They were able to find, you know, a fight winner pulse bomb all the way back in map 1. Definitely could be looking for here again, especially with how close that you see Normal kind of playing as a team.
Definitely so. Looks like we'll have that overtime contention coming through right there, but Pella, again, trying to run down Brubber, make this as difficult as possible to hang about right here and get rid of Mayhem. It's a big step to doing so right now. They're trying to get the flip over on the point. Pella more than happy to make their appearance felt over on there. There's still plenty to be used here if needed be right now. Will the Brad take the shot in the dark and let this loose? The answer is nah, not going to happen. And with that being the case, grab thrown in. You're going to use the orbital ray to keep everybody alive in it. Works out beautifully here for Mal Academy as Brubber. There's nothing they can do but fall onto the point, and eventually it shall be handed over to Mal Academy, but they're still investing? What? They get the momentary flip?
What a cage, fella. They get the flip. Yeah, I'm right here with you, man.
Oh, but Noxious maybe a very needed blow right there over onto Exo. Has been doing really good thus far. Brad, remember, does still have a Death Blossom if need be, but still, no one's going to just stand by and eat this Death Blossom. Like, no one is just going to let it happen for free here as the flip comes back through. Brad is going to have to go back on and maybe just try to pop it for the sake of popping it. He's going to try to get rid of Mayhem, or Regime, I should say. They're sitting at 1 here. As eventually Pella going to be forced back. Flip coming through again as Exo gets rid of 3 on the fight. Oh my god.
Again, we talk about this Tracer 1v1 here, this back and forth, and you see McChicken find value, you see Exo find value here, but somehow, some way, this first point's not over yet, Hunter. And you have to give a lot of credit to Elemental Normal there by being able to keep it alive. They got the flip there. And, I mean, yeah, the ultimates invested were left us scratching our heads at time because, yeah, they absolutely should have. But, I mean, this point is still alive for them.
It is. It's kind of crazy that it is right now. A double pulse bomb available as well. So McChicken hanging in there right now. Trying to hang in there, but eventually he's gotten the better of it. Now, Pulse Bomb could be absolutely massive, especially with Pella running out of defenses. You get one last touch over on in there right there. Pella down, and now you're out of resources if you are this Meow Academy squad. Pulse Bomb is sitting by, but it's not going to be necessary. That's a big clutch up from Elemental Normal to really get some momentum in the series for what feels like genuinely the first time.
I think it's one of those moments right there, Hunter, where we're casting this game for a very good reason. And Elemental Normal apparently knew when to use those ultimates a lot better than we did here. And look, they're going to have all those ultimates again to go right here, right now. They're going to have that overall raid, and the rally already coming out here now early from Mayhem.
Yep, it's big. Pulse Bomb going to hit the shield here, so no value coming through here from McChicken, and this is looking phenomenal thus far here for this Elemental Normal squad. They're going to be able to back up and should be able to claim control of the second point as well, but they are walking into double support ultimates, or I should say they're about to be facing double support ultimates.
Double support ultimates, a cage that, granted, the last time it was used, Pella didn't find anyone with it and only trapped themselves inside their glass case of emotions. But still, you're looking at what you have right now for Elemental Normal. You have a grab, you have a death blast, you have a pulse bomb about to be online here. You're in a good spot here to be able to shut down some of those other ultimates on the other side, but Mayhem wants to use that rally now.
Yeah, Brad. And Brad's going to follow up with Exo again. Finds through this one side over here. Pella still has a full bit of health. Rubber, there's almost nothing you can do in there. You need all the health in the world, and they're kind of finding it, quite frankly, as Pella still with a full bit of health hanging around, trying to bully away Rubber, but it's just not happening as Pella falls on the point, and more so, I should call it the sword, as they'll go over, and with 60% in counting, I mean, Normal are kind of on a non-stop train right now.
I mean, this is what this comp is, the death ball kind of play style that they have right now, and it's working out very well for them. And I was going to say something about Brad, how they've been kind of struggling, but then I looked at the stats, and they have the most damage in the lobby. So even though the Death Blossoms has been kind of lackluster for them so far this map, their presence is surely being felt right now for them. And you have a rally coming up here right now for Mayhem. You might, yeah, you're going to probably use it in this engagement as Pella at least gets touched to force the overtime.
Yep, Nox is there to try to find a couple of bodies if possible. Gets rid of Brad, and it looks like, yeah, they should be able to take this fight. Nox, just great shot in the air right there, as a little bit of help from Graveyard as well takes them and brings it back. But now, I mean, in this round like this, it's kind of just Rubber trying to build up towards this grab right now that has no answer in terms of support ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, you really probably don't even need the grab here. You have this rally from Mayhem and a Pulse Bomb from Exo. If you can get one pick from that Pulse Bomb from Exo, it opens up so much for you, especially if you find on someone like Graveyard, like Regime. Again, neither of these teams are playing Kiriko because, granted, she's banned out here. But this leaves you, this allows you to play a little bit more aggressively here, and that's what both teams have been showing us. Both these teams playing very heavy death ball kind of style comps here. And if you can get rid of someone like Pella early on, or potentially the Brad here, who's really testing his luck.
I mean, why not? Hey, have a little bit of fun in the process right now. Isn't super deep, though, as you see Pella going to go in aggro, as you're going to see Pella is really in the thick of it right now, and would be really lucky to get out of here alive. Okay. Somehow almost gets away with it, quite frankly, which is crazy to me. Graviton's still sitting by right here as you see a Pulse Bomb stick over onto Mayhem. It's massive as Grab thrown in. It's going to catch onto multiple bodies. Flip is not going to come through. It's a big touch for McChicken, and with the rally here from Regime, they're going to be able to solidify in this realistically should be a tie coming up here in a 1-1 as Brad trying to hang around in there right now, 95%. Unfortunately, they're going to get forced out of the fight. Will eventually fall over here as the 1-1 will come into activation. And now Graveyard Pella have the ultimate combo sitting by.
I mean, what? We just saw what we saw in the first one all over again. Pulse Bomb going to find Regime right there. However, McChicken going to find them right back. But again, Hunter, we've seen 2 points this map. They've been mirrors of each other so far.
An absolute mirrors. And already an aggressive fight being taken. Rubber, only a solo heals out here, is trying to be kept up right here. But Graveyard eventually going to be forced over out of the fight. Going to be able to stay alive. Well, momentarily, I should more add on there. As Pella is going to... What? I mean,
another
I don't hate it.
Of emotions.
Oh, that's insane. Now Brad's going to move in.
And if we go back and watch, like, we could really criticize the ult usage here, but somehow it's always led to the success of both these teams, and I don't know how.
I could not begin to tell you, quite frankly. It's been kind of crazy on this map so far, but I love it, really, in this situation. As Mookie forced out right there, it's a big room for Pella to be in right now. Lots of suspects to run into. But unfortunately for Elemental Normal, not going well for them right now as they're getting pressured big time. It feels like the shoe really has changed feet right here as Rubber's forced to the corner. Has the big old mega health pack, but they're just trying to hang in there to the best of their ability as Brad, again, tries to find value, but none to be found with the Death Blossom.
Don't worry, Hunter. If this map's told us anything, the real fight for the point doesn't start until one team gets up to 99%.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
But Rubber's going to come in with a grab. Mayhem's going to have the rally. Regime has a rally to respond with, which has been a good kind of counter to the grab here so far. And that's normally when you see actually Regime use that rally when that grab comes out here. Whew, EXO barely staying alive. There is big. There's essentially the touch at the moment as the fight already breaking out here on point. And pulse bomb out. Can't find EXO.
EXO!
Oh,
no, you can't do this. And now it's cleanup time. And it's going to be map and match point online here for this Meow Academy squad, trying to move up to 6-3, and to be fair, they've got some amazing tools to do it.
I'm thinking about my prediction from earlier this week, and I'm not happy with it at the moment. But again, it's been so back and forth. Even if the series ends in a 3-0 sweep for Meow Academy, EXO, I mean, not EXO, wow, I'm now saying it. Normal has just looked good at times, but you're just seeing Meow Academy and that experience they have here, that play they have. Cage coming out, not gonna be a glass case of emotions this time around.
Yeah, really interesting is EXO is back over on that Vendetta, and the Vendetta is gone just as quickly as Big Stomp trying to come through for Pello's going to try to burn away. Mayhem runs out of ammo momentarily. Doesn't matter though. McChicken there to clear things out as whatever momentum Elemental Normal had before, it's losing itself.
All but gone here, which is the sad thing, and now you see the exit swap over to the Vendetta. Not dead,
yeah.
apparently.
Yeah. Vendetta decided to keep around after that last fight, and now this should be a quick flip the other way right here as nothing lost realistically by the Mal Academy squad, who still have some good ultimates, but Regime to the Wuyong now. Interesting.
Regime to the Wuyong, Brad to the Bastion. Again, this feels more like they just want to try to burn through a lot of the health that Pelican have here on this Malga very, very early on. But you have to remember they are now essentially the biggest target on the other side here. But hey, finding the value here early.
Yeah, definitely they are. As Regime, yeah, just never gets in that fight either. As one thing I will say, you take the super aggressive fight up, the flip does come through, so you do burn away like 10 percentile here. As Mitchik is still hanging in there, is going to be able to stall for a little while longer, as that will be able to pull them out. But again, that's about 15%. Unfortunately, you're hit with the full reset, so I question how worth it truly was.
You'll take it. You'll take it. Yeah, the full reset has to come, but you'll gladly take that 42% right now, because without it, Hunter, I mean, you would be looking at Final Fight territory right about now. And granted, you're going to be looking at Final Fight territory, so you really didn't lose much. Oro Ray online for you, though, means you can play really aggressively going into this fight, knowing that there's probably nothing ready on the other side, but EXO, Brad, and Mayhem going to have all their ultimates here very, very soon.
Definitely so. And did Regime did that come? Yeah, okay, it came out. Okay, it did come out. I thought it got canceled for just a brief moment, but they're still hanging around. Mayhem, though, gets pulse bombed immediately, and now it's just a clean through coming through here for Meow Academy. But to be fair, I don't think they're in a big rush to kill these last couple members off right here. As EXO just get one on the way out, but Brubber would love to get here live, but I think you need to reset as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah. Cage, though, coming out, actually to trap people this time.
Ooh, yeah, this is, it's a little rough. A little rough right now as Pella trying to force them bodies out. Brad is going to let this one loose, wants to find literally anything. Unfortunately, shall not be found. Pella's going to move in super aggro all around on the Brubber, burning away all of that health. You will see a touch coming through, though, to cause the OT, but it's body after body falling over. It's a rush to the point. One they shall not make. And it's going to be Meow Academy moving up to 6-3 as, fortunately for Elemental Normal, they fall further and further down the card.
Yeah, and again, playoffs are now becoming this conversation for Elemental Normal where they have to start this an amazing run for them to get here. As Meow Academy, though, on the other hand, in a comfortable spot here. 6-3, very good right now, especially with how the rest of the standings are looking here, especially with a lot of teams that still have a lot of more games to go here in the next 2.5 weeks. I think you're absolutely happy with that. But when I look at Elemental Normal here in the remaining schedule, you have Fallen Destiny, Team Z, EXO, Element Garden, interesting pivot, and then Kintsugi. So you have very winnable games left to go here. You have to just find a win somewhere against probably Team Z and Kintsugi. Outside that, I think all these games are very much winnable for Elemental Normal.
No, they 100% are. It's a great scenario for them in the scenarios. For Elemental Normal, it sucks being at 3-6 right now, but like we were talking about at the very beginning, there are some very winnable games in a scenario like this. I mean, you still have a lot of these teams that are hanging down there, like Interesting Pivot, like Elemental Garden, their counterpart, and even Fallen Destiny, who's kind of Volnesi's been like maybe the most hit or miss team of the entire season, where they lose really unfortunate games, but then they go and beat an Artemis team that just went and beat the Fallen. It's really weird how this entire season has gone thus far, where we've had seasons in the past, especially sometimes in like South America, we've seen like, yeah, this feels like the best team right now. I don't know if there's a team in North America right now that I could distribute that label to right now.
I think North America is just unpredictable at the moment here. Team Z, I think a lot of people still look at it as probably the team to beat, but outside of that, everything's just so like cattywampus that it's so just weird to make accurate predictions. Oh crap! I'm trying to pull up the standings right now, but I accidentally flashbanged myself. But like again, there's no undefeated teams left. And a lot of teams that were surprising to be undefeated so late in the season, but at the same time, it's just like, hey, some of them didn't really play games until very late in the season here. I mean, right now you have Dildux and Team Z who are sitting atop the standings because they played 11 games, but they have 3 losses. Amplify, the Fallen are 1-loss teams that are up there, but outside that, you only have Kintsugi, the only other 2-loss team left. So there's going to be a lot of 3-4 loss teams fighting for some playoff spots here. And you have to imagine that a lot of those teams are also going to end up dropping a game here or there. I mean, we always talk about probably that 8-9 spot with wins is a spot where you say like, hey, we're going to be a fringe playoff team. We're going to be on the edge. 10 wins, 11 wins definitely guarantees you probably a spot in. And with this win here tonight, I mean, like you said, Meow Academy goes up to 6-3. They have a tough schedule though remaining. I mean, they still have to play Dildux, they still have to play Amplify, they still have to play Vivacity, but outside that, they have Hive Mind, Artemis, Wink left to go. So like they have their winnable games. They also have some games that are a little bit rough for them here that again, I think the biggest thing with this team so far throughout the season is they've been able to win some games against some tough teams, but they've also lost some games to some tough teams. So there's a lot of polarity right now in this Masters tier.
Yeah, there is a ton, and things can go a lot of different ways right now, so we'll see how it continues going throughout the last couple weeks of competition. But, well, that is it for tonight. As of this moment, barring rescheduling, we have a game coming up on Friday night, Extinction Zero taking on Vivacity, a game I'm personally very excited for. Two rosters that, especially Vivacity, done extremely well for themselves so far throughout the season. If my things will update right now, they're currently sitting in third right now at 7-3, and to their own extent, while Extinction Zero has had their struggles, they're currently 4-3. They are very much still in the conversation, and that game could go a lot of different ways because I feel like they've been a bit oh my god, English. They've been trying to find themselves a lot lately because they've had some of the really toughest games happening these last couple of weeks, and you would think they can fall into a winning pattern here, especially given the talent on this roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially like you said, the talent on that roster. But again, there's just been so many reschedules. I think a lot of these teams have struggled because like they'll play one game one week and then it'll be a week before they